First impression of Cheyenne was when I first saw her. Well, that's hard. That's a long time ago. It's like 5.5 years ago.
My first impression of Dustin was that he was really handsome.
We met in her 5th grade, my 6th grade year, and I guess we met through a window basically in a roundabout way.
He had his face shoved up against the window with all the other boys in his class trying to figure out who the new girl was. But I mean, the good looks did come along with his face shoved against the window.
And then later on, it turned into...
It was kind of like I knew him because, I don't know, small town, Bertrand. He was a year older than me, and
Seeing her in the hallway. Really didn't think much of it.
7th grade on to 8th grade was when pursuing Dustin a little bit more.
And I guess as the story goes, she was the chaser of me instead of me chasing her.
I just wanted his eyes on me, per se. And so we had junior high track meets together, and that's when it became more clear that I really liked him and that he was sweet and a gentleman, which it didn't help that my parents fell in love with Dustin kind of before I did.
So I was kind of all dumbfounded to all of it.
He helped my younger brother, Ethan, with Pee Wee wrestling. So my dad got to know Dustin and noticed how much of a gentleman he was and how caring. And so then they kind of shoved me in that direction also. And then in 8th grade, towards the end of the school year, is when
I guess the Lord flipped the switch. Probably my 7th grade, 8th grade year. And I noticed something different about her.
I had an RPAC band or vocal trip, I can't remember which one, but I was coming home from it and my mom's texting me, keeping me updated on where Dustin was, because there was a Pee Wee wrestling meet and back home. And so I was like, what do you want me to do? Tell the bus driver to step on it? It's like, I can't really do that. So she's keeping me updated and she's like, you need to hurry up, he's in the gym. And she's like, you need to go talk to him. And so when I got to Bertrand, I wanted to go change into a t-shirt and jeans, but of course Mom refused and she was like, no, wear that outfit. And she shoved me into the gym and I ran into Dustin and of course, liking him, flirted with him, and that kind of started it off.
My freshman year, we started to, I guess, talk a little more. She initiated a text message.
I'm not for sure how I got his phone number.
Asked me if I liked, what was it?
I had a survey in math, and it was whether you like jeans, sweatpants, or shorts better.
Jeans, shorts, or sweatpants or something like that. So I texted her back and I said I like jeans.
And I thought that was the end of the conversation. So I left my phone and I wrote down the answer or whatever. And then my phone went off again and he asked me how I was doing. And so then, oh my gosh, I thought that was like the best time of my life. I was jumping up and down. Like, then again, I was in 8th grade.
And then it kind of just snowballed from there. My first date with her,
Our first date.
it's pretty cheesy. I shined up my pickup like normal and took her to Dairy Queen for ice cream. Then we went to...
It was either Cars 2 or the Smurfs that we watched.
in Holdridge at the Sun Theater.
We went to the park and we were walking around the pond and he's gonna hate me for saying this, but there was a snake and he screamed and I just thought that was pretty hilarious, but he didn't find it. He's more muscular than that. But then we left, and he called that night the Dustin date plan and wouldn't tell me anything that we were doing. And so I had a curfew of 11, and we went back home, and he went past my driveway, and I was trying to figure out, like, oh, maybe he just missed the turn or whatever. And he went a couple miles past my house and on top of a hill and pulled over, and he asked me if I would be his girlfriend. And oh, I'm such a turd, but I told him I don't know, and his face went serious. I felt so bad, but I was like, yes, of course.
Wasn't much, but that was the first date.
Yeah, so then that's kind of what started.
My favorite memory of Cheyenne.
It's hard to narrow down just one.
So many. Okay. There's a lot of good. And, I don't know.
He's literally been through everything with me, so it's kind of hard to just pinpoint one.
Just recently, we've had a lot of good memories with just growing together and seeing how far we've come. Favorite thing about Cheyenne? It's a tough question.
He is the most caring guy I've ever met, and he would do anything for anyone at any time.
Her personality, I like that she's always outgoing, always there to stick up for someone, even me occasionally.
He always puts me first, and he does a pretty good job at it. And I just love him overall. So
just her love for the Lord is growing and maturing, which is cool to see.
He's muscular and he's tall, and he's just perfect all around. His eyes are what get me. Draw me in every time.
Physically, she was created by the hand of God. Let's just put it that way.
Once we started dating, I kind of lost interest of thinking of ever finding someone else.
God kept showing me that there was something different, and that something changing inside me that, I guess, more settle-ish. I wanted to settle down.
It was pretty obvious to me that we were going to get married someday. The story of our engagement is Dustin had been planning it, and I had no idea. And usually I can catch on to Dustin if he's planning something.
We had been working all summer, so if I took a day off, that she'd know something was up.
It was on a Friday.
So at work, me and this hired hand decided that we would make a plan, and I kind of filled her in on what I had in mind, and we were supposed to sign papers for the barn we were getting married at. So I ended up telling Taylor that.
And the day before, he messaged a girl I was babysitting for and told her that I wouldn't be able to make it and that she would have to find someone else because we needed to go sign some contract.
I was gonna meet her that night, or that day, to take her to the barn.
And I didn't know anything about him talking to the girl I was babysitting for. And then she texted me while we were at work and was like, I can't find anyone else to work for you. And she was kind of freaking out. And then I started freaking out because I thought I was going to lose my babysitting job. And so then Dustin got a wonderful lecture from good old me that he cannot do that because I needed that job, and that he needed to talk to me about making plans, and I was confused on the whole contract thing. And
I told Taylor that we were going to take her car while Cheyenne was in the room to go sign the papers for the barn.
He kept talking about the barn we're getting married in, he kept talking about how we needed to go sign it, even though we're not engaged. We just got done giving out milk to the calves, and we're sitting around waiting for the water to fill up. And he told Taylor that she needed to get up and she was going to drive us to the barn to go sign this contract. And he brought it up out of nowhere.
And the whole way to the barn, Cheyenne was complaining.
I sat in the back seat, and the entire time we were on the way to the barn, I was chewing Dustin out.
She was very upset and complaining in the car, and as Taylor was driving, she knew the whole plan.
I was so wrapped up in being so mad at Dustin that the dinger went off in Taylor's car, and then she started slowing down, but it wasn't really noticeable. And then her radio went out.
There's the seatbelt dinger went off, and I was like, oh geez, might want to pull over for that. And so she pulls over the side of the road.
And so then I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like, we're not clocked out of work. I was like, we're heading to the barn to sign a contract that I'm not even engaged. And I was so upset.
And I was like, you might want to pop the hood, this could be something serious. So she pops the hood.
So then he's out there, and I'm sitting in the back seat thinking of how upset I am for him talking to Taylor like that, and that we just left work. And then all of a sudden,
her favorite song comes on, The Story of My Life by Marty Robbins. And she's yelling out the window.
this song's on the radio. I was like, it never plays on the radio. And I'm singing along to it, and then I realized that I was mad at Dustin, so I stopped talking to him, and I just sat in the back seat and remembered how mad I was.
Then I was like, well, could you come out and help me? I can't see, and it was pure daylight, didn't even think about it. But I was like, could you hold the flashlight?
So I got out of the car and looked underneath the hood and looked at him, and I was like, you think I know anything about cars?
She was turning around to get back in the car, so I ran around her and got on one knee, and
He proposed. And yeah.
And out of surprise, she said,
Are you freaking kidding me? Because of how many times he has fake proposed to me.
and then she said,
Yeah, and then I'm like, no, yes.
so I took the yes, and that was that.
Then the story started of our engagement.
What I'm looking most towards on our wedding day is just to see her and her dad walk down the aisle, and that's something that nobody can take away from her. And to, I guess, see my future bride walking towards me.
Just being together with friends and family, and finally getting to come together underneath God with my true love. I'm excited for that, and to have everyone there with us.
On our wedding day, I know you'll be nervous just like I am now, and of course we'll both be nervous on our wedding day, but if there's one thing I want you to know that I love you, and I am proud of us as far as we've made it, and as far as we will make it, and I pray that the Lord will just guide us through this time, and I can't wait to see what the future has for us.
My message for you is that I am beyond excited to be your wife, and I could not love you any more than what I do. And thank you for this journey, and I can't wait for more. We've been through literally everything, and you've always been there right by my side, and I just want to thank you for that, because you make me happy. And I love you. And that's my message to you right now. And there's plenty more to come. So Thank you.
She is.
Dustin's better at the grill, but I'd say I'm pretty good at cooking.
It's tough on me.
Dustin's better.
Oh, I don't know, me?
Dustin.
Definitely me.
I'd say Dustin. He's like a girl, but he doesn't realize it. Depending on the day, me.
She owns more shoes.
Dustin owns more boots, which I'm jealous of, but I have more shoes. That's a good one. Maybe him?
That's a toss-up.
I'd say Dustin, but he'd probably say me, but I might agree with him on days. I do. Dustin. Depending on the occasion, Dustin.
That's a tough one. Me?
My scenario of the story was we were on, this was before we were dating.
It comes out.
Yep. And the same thing he did when he asked me out, he went past my house and a couple of miles and stopped and we were looking at the stars, and it came closer to 11, so I was like, we better head back, and off with the movies. You know how the guy spits out his gum or something cheesy like that? Dustin rolls down his window and spits out his gum, and so I'm sitting here thinking to myself, oh my gosh, it's like he's gonna kiss me. It's like I have gum in my mouth, I don't know what to do, I've never kissed anyone before, and so I tried scooting closer to the door and trying to keep it casual. And then we get into my yard and I tell him thank you, and I was like, had a great night. I was like, my brother's in the house if you want to talk to him. And right when I was about ready to open the door to leave, he reached over and he pulled me in and he kissed me.
Sweet girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that was me.
Dustin was the first one, and he was at a basketball camp with his cousin Dean, and there's like a tornado warning or something.
There was gonna be a tornado there. It was gonna hit.
And they were acting as if they were gonna die. And so I was talking to Dustin, and he was like, I'll talk to you later. And I was like, okay, be safe. And then, like, right when you take the phone down away from you and you are like about to hit the end button, he said, I love you, and I hung up on him. And so I sat there, pacing back and forth, being like, what the heck? It's like, did he just say he loved me? And I like second guessed myself, and then I was like, maybe I should just call him back and ask. And so I had to work up the motivation to do that, and I called him and he answered, and I was like, I'm sorry I hung up, did you say something? And he was like, no. And I was like, I thought you said something. And I was like, did you say you loved me? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh. It's like, I love you too.
That we think alike. We finish each other's sentences now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both work out at the Calf Ranch. We both like country lifestyles. Pretty much the same interest in food. We like the same stuff.
Steak, beef.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. We're both science majors.
Yeah.
Fun time at Wayne State College. Yeah.
And
This is gonna be interesting.
AC.
Oh, we both love Jesus. That's a main one. That's bigger than
Yeah.
the basics.
So brought us together. Totally different. We figured that out. You fold my hankies wrong.
I do not fold your hankies wrong.
You fold them hamburger style, like them hot dog style.
Oh my gosh. And I don't know. There might be little differences that I can't pinpoint right now.
We're just gonna say on. Nothing to argue about.
So it's in advance right now. We both want to thank everyone for coming and traveling all this way out to the barn and enjoying this day with us and celebrating the marriage between us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And thank you for your support.
Yeah, I'd like to thank her parents for accepting me into their family and not killing me, which is awesome. And I'd like to thank my family for raising me. I'd like to thank everybody who is here, and I hope you all have a wonderful time. I don't know.